personal favorite shots because of how beautifully it's dotted with. If not to mention that the rest of the episode is quite nice to chill back and relax to and watch on a Saturday morning. It's so classic, so beautiful, and so dotted with. Not to mention that's nice to see Richard try to be a little bit more responsible and learn to say no to things, which makes it a good episode. Episode 7, Ebony, the Boombox. Gumball and Darwin try to help Duke to speak properly. Fun fact, some of his beatboxes are used inside a McDonald's version of him. My favorite part of this episode is Miss Simeon's retired. This is quite funny. However, I do have to say that this episode is a little bit weird, and not to mention that Gumball and Darwin I've already argued inside 2 episodes before. Like, literally one inside the previous episode, right before the castle, which is quite stupid. Not to mention that it's quite just messed up about how the beat Duke is able to speak somehow, and yet he's from a beatboxing country, but yet they add that for other languages, but yet it's just hard to understand. But you know what? The humor is good enough and funny enough, especially with the fact that Miss Simmons retired, about how they get run negative and a bunch of funny things happen. That's just funny enough, and the story's quite okay enough to become a good episode. Episode 71, The Tape. Gumball and Darwin film a series of skits with their video camera. Oh my gosh. This episode is probably one of the best episodes in terms of laughs per minute and per second. There are so many gags jam-packed into this episode that might as well be better than the banana itself. Oh, from, the Juez, is not to mention about the fact that that's just hilarious about how it's done and dealt with. If to the buyers trying to get some girls, but it sucks at it. It's just done so well. Oh, and also, fun fact, that a shot at the beginning is a reference to Jaws, which is quite nice to look at. And of course, this episode is a good episode. Although I think that is also another statement that might as well be improvised. Episode 72, The Sweaters. Gumball and Darwin compete inside a sweater competition. Fun fact, this is the first appearance of Sarah. My god. My favorite part of this episode is Gumball's speech. So, this episode is quite interesting to talk about. Allow me to explain inside the most best and most criticizing way that I can explain myself. Oh, and in case you're wondering, welcome to part 2 of this review. Yes, it happened again. Anyways, back to the episode. So, I do like some of the jokes and how it makes a parody of the 80s and some of the life lessons like the Karate Kid. Although it just comes out completely nowhere and feels kind of stupid, but yet stupid enough to become a pretty darn good episode. Not to mention that's quite nice to see a pretty nice and touching ending, and which is pretty alright and pretty decent about how Gumball is able to still get back up and you take it a little bit seriously, and yet not to mention that some of the humor is pretty good. Therefore, it's a pretty good episode, but barely. Episode 73, The Internet. Gumball must take down the internet to delete embarrassing video. Fun fact, the internet's body is a computer from the 1980s. My favorite part of the episode is the video stuff. It's just quite hilarious and quite stupid about how it's done. And while yes, it is stupid that the internet is so a jerk in the ending, it's just not really that much of a compromise, it still works because of how funny the episode is. And it's just so great and so dealt with. Not to mention that, I should also mention, as another fun fact for you guys, if you hear the music inside that video where Gumball gets scared at, some of that music is actually used on the beginning shot of a very edgy movie called The Shining, which is why I added the axe there from the famous Here's Johnny. And not to mention about, it's still kind of stupid about how Darwin does not, and Gumball all don't know about that there was a 19th century, despite the fact that they're not kindergartners, as said in the previous season. Although, it's just only one time in this season, which is a good thing about this season. And yet, the video itself is funny enough that and also this episode are pretty good. Episode 74, The Plan. The kids must stop a man from stealing their mother. Fun fact, before the internet, people put it ads at the mail and at the newspaper, which is quite funny and interesting to look at. My favorite part of this episode is Gumball versus Gumball. It's quite interesting to see the kids do what they would do if a guy tries to steal their mother from the original parents. Not to mention that the way that they detail the plan and the gags are done with this episode is just quite clever and good enough. That's just another classic episode that might as well be a good episode. Episode 75, The World. We get to see the viewpoints of Elmo's objects. Fun fact, Anais was already the same age as in the show when she got Daisy. Darn it. My favorite part of the episode is Daisy. This is quite funny and random about how all of a sudden she comes to life. Not to mention that the bonding of Anais and Daisy, their relationship, is just quite beautiful. That's nice to look at. But guys, I need to take a big quick stop for a minute just to tell you guys this backstory. Okay, so this one time, when I was a little kid and I was watching this episode, I thought that they said the amazing world of Gumball because it made a lot more sense. But yet, they actually said the amazing world of Elmore. Which in this case, I don't understand completely because it makes a lot more sense for them to say the amazing world of Gumball. But you know what? It doesn't matter. They can do their thing. Anyways, on to this episode. It's quite stupid about some of the segments and quite boring. However, some segments are quite good enough that I will call a meh. Finally, thank God. It's episode 75, the finale. The citizens of Elmore are after the Wattersons to get back at their actions. Fun fact, and this is an important one here, there are so many gags jam-packed into this episode but yet, most of them are not really gags and are more just nostalgic trackbacks to the first season. We get a reference inside a photo book of the responsible. We get a reference of the mustache again. And we get to see Kenneth return again from the microwave. And not to mention about the fact that there's a bunch of other things from throughout the season that gets referenced inside this episode, like the pizza. Not to mention that the fight between Kenneth and Hector is quite good, but it's still quite a meh episode because of just how random it is, about how the fact that the sisters all of a sudden attack him at this very moment, not to mention that it feels like a very bad version of TV sitcoms dealing with problems. And it's just done not so good because it just feels like a finale that's called a finale for no reason, despite the fact that the movie will be the finale. And yes, I know about the finale. That said, that is every single darn episode of Gumball Season 2 review. Let's go to the statistics. Now, if you can see from this chart I made, and yes, it's not that good, but just go with it, we have 34 good episodes, 1 Scumball episode, and 5 meh episodes. Comparing that to Season 1, it's way much more than in the previous season, mostly because that season had 36 episodes, or was it 35? And yeah, this episode had 40. But however, you can see a lot. There is the same number of meh, but there is more good and a lot less Scumball, which makes sense about that. Now, what's this rating of the season overall? Well, if you can tell from the statistics and how basically most people feel about the season, this season is a pretty damn good season. This is why this is my favorite season ever. Now, guys, I won't be able to tell the top 5 right now because I really want to get this over so I can work on the movie. However, once I'm done with the movie, I will try my best to work on the other project, including telling you what is my top 5 favorite episodes. And then, hopefully I'll see you guys in Season 3 if I'm able to make it. I'm not sure when it will come out because this took so long to make it with so much pressure. But, you know what? It doesn't matter. As long as you guys have a good time, I have a good time. And with that said, Bottle Guy, out.